So the Oklahoma Sooners won the Women's College World Series last weekend over Florida State. Let's jump right into it.
Wait, no. They have to watch our intro.
That's right. You got to watch the intro. Hey, recruits.
What's up, guys?
Thank you so much for tuning in. Guess what? We're on the 10th episode of Finish the Batter.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. And guys, as a reminder, once we hit our first major goal of 250 subscribers, we're going to have a free giveaway for one of you.
Huge giveaway. Also, guys, if you want to be a part of that lineup and a part of the action, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on our notification bell so you guys never miss any of our awesome content.
And guys, as always on this show, we will cover travel ball, we'll cover high school ball, we'll cover college ball, we'll even cover recruiting as a whole.
We're also going to cover my recruiting journey and everything that went into that. And then we're even going to have special guests from time to time come on and talk about their recruiting journey and everything they went to, schools they're looking into. And also we're going to be filming at other locations such as walk-ons, sports bars, and things like that, so you guys can see us at different locations.
Awesome. Okay, Maddie, so let's kick off this week's show by talking about the newly crowned national champion Oklahoma Sooners. Yep, they beat Florida State 5-1 in Game 3 to take the title.
Can we just say we called it? Like, we called it last week. We called it. That was crazy.
You know, Giselle Juarez, her teammates call her G.
Oh, yep.
She got the start in the circle for OU, and she pitched a complete game.
She pitched a great game. She earned the most outstanding player in the College World Series, which she deserved.
She deserved it.
And then Jocelyn Allo had the first inning home run, her 34th of the year, let me just say. That made the score 1-0.
Yep. In the second inning, Jada Coleman put one out as well to go up 2-0. That was just a little bit over the fence, but hey, still a shot.
We're taking it. We will take it.
Yep. In the third inning, Kaylee Harding scored on an error by Tiare Jennings, so that made the score 2-1 at that point. So Florida State had some life there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, in the bottom of the third, a wild pitch with the bases loaded and a line drive off the left field wall made the score 5-1. And after that, Florida State never recovered.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, how do you? I mean,
well,
you can, but you're up 5-1. I mean, they're up 5-1.
Yeah, but you know, OU was our pick to win the College World Series from the beginning. Like I said, I was hesitant at the beginning, and I think, you know, as I said last week, I was proven a little right on being a little hesitant there. But, you know, they defied the odds several times in this World Series to win the whole thing.
I mean,
you know,
that
showed me something.
Bracket? Yeah.
You know, they have a ton of talent. But they showed they have some heart. You know, they had to win 7 games going into the losers bracket after losing to JMU.
Crazy.
They had to win 7 games to win the College World Series, and they did it. They won 7 out of 8. They only lost Game 1 of the College World Series. It's crazy. And that's quite an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Period.
Okay, so let's talk about the AllTournament team that they released. So we had OU led with 7 players, as they should. We have Florida State with 2 players, JMU with 2 players, and Alabama with 2 players.
So, you know, Montana Fouts for Alabama as a pitcher.
Literally. I mean, we all knew that.
Had one of the greatest performances in World Series history. Catherine Sandercock for Florida State. She had a great tournament. Odyssey Alexander, legend.
Period, as she should.
Giselle Juarez, teammates know her as G.
Yep.
You know, she was actually a transfer from Arizona State.
Yeah, me and Castle were talking about that at the tournament this weekend.
Bailey Hemphill, the catcher for Bama. You know, she put a few out in the tournament. Kaylee Mudge for Florida State. She set a record for the most hits in a College World Series with 14. Wow. She was outstanding.
That's amazing.
She plays left field for Florida State. She's outstanding.
Oh, I'm sure that's amazing. And then we have Kate Gordon for James Madison. Then we have Jocelyn Allo for OU, which is not a shock to anyone. No. And then we have Mackenzie Donahoe, who made a ton of highlight catches in left field for OU and had several huge homers.
Let's stop you right there for just a second. She had a really good game in the College World Series where she hit 2 out, and then her teammates started calling her Gonahoo. It's kind of funny.
That is funny. And then we have Kinsey Hansen for OU, and then Tiara Jennings for OU, and Nicole Mendez for OU.
Yep. It was a great tournament for all of them. Congratulations, ladies. You deserve it.
Absolutely.
All right, Maddie, so let's switch gears now and go over to select ball. You guys played in the Triple Crown Texas State Championships over the weekend up in Plano.
Great weekend.
It was a good weekend for you guys. You guys went 2-2 in pool. That puts you in the silver bracket. But I'll be honest, you guys should have been 3-1 in the gold bracket.
I agree.
you lost to Illusions Gold Sesame. You had a 4-0 lead, and they came back and beat you 5-4.
Yeah.
And they're a good squad. Don't get me wrong, but that game you guys should have had. How did you feel after that loss?
It was a tough one for sure. You know, they're our sister team for Illusions. We definitely should have won that game. You know, they started off a little bit slower than we did, and so we were hitting, we jumped right on them, and we put up 4 runs. And so I guess just to blow the lead, and you know, because they came back inning by inning, you know, with a few runs here and there. So I mean, I don't know, it was a tough one because we were like, oh, we should have won. You know, I mean, that happens, you know.
You know, I did have to laugh, though, because I was watching the games online. I couldn't go, so her mom took her. But you guys played it on dirt fields on day 1.
Yeah.
And I was looking at some of the video, and it looked like somebody did donuts with their car in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how the fields didn't look good.
No, they were just like weirdly like, I don't even know. It was just weird. You walked up and you were like, huh? Yeah. It was weird.
I didn't see any lines or a circle or nothing.
And at one point there was just no chalk, no nothing. I was like,
yeah, it was weird.
There's no box. I mean, it was weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Now moving on to bracket play. You guys were in the silver bracket, as I said before.
Yep.
You guys got all the way to the semifinal.
Yes.
And lost a really close game, 2-1.
It was so close. It was so close.
It was close. You know, you had to play 3 straight games on the turf because y'all played at a different park that day.
Yeah.
And the heat was over 100, just at the heat, not counting the heat on the turf and what was coming off the turf.
It was 107.
And then on top of that, on Sunday, you were shorthanded due to things that were out of y'all's control. You know, we'll get into your batting in a moment. But talk us through the games from a fielding standpoint on the turf and the heat.
So we'd planned to go all the way on Sunday. We were ready to play, 4 games, win the championship. And due to some things, like we said earlier, I was the only catcher. I mean, we had our third baseman, Faith, but I mean, if I wasn't catching, I would have to play third, so we'd have to switch. So I was just like, I'm good with catching. Like, I'll stay, here. Like, I'm good. So first game was great.
And let me stop you right there. Hold that thought. She hadn't played third base since December because, in high school, she played catcher all year. So, and I understand feeling a little more comfortable right now, especially in a showcase and things like that, playing catcher. But go ahead.
And also, too, Faith, she's a sophomore, or she's going to be a junior, so she, needs to be seen, needs to get recruited. Right. So, and her main position is third, so I'd rather her play there and me stay, where I'm at. Anyway, so first game was a great game. We won like 8-1. Great game. We hit. Everything was fine. It was little spicy hot out there, but it wasn't that bad, but it was pretty bad. And then moving on to the second game, it was
you guys won 8-1 in that one too.
Yeah, I mean, we won 8-1 in both games. Still a great game. We were hitting. It was great. We actually played Angelia, one of our old teammates from last year that played on our team.
Okay. Which team does she play for?
She plays for the Diamond Legacy.
That's what it is. That's right. I remember. Yeah, I remember her mom posting something on Facebook about that.
Yeah. And they're pretty okay squad. That was when
Good luck, Angelia.
Yeah. I hit a home run. It was great. Great game.
You know what? And that'll be right here.
Hey, way to go, baby! Hey, way to go, 7!
And we're back. So, looking at that home run, how did that home run feel?
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Knowing that I hadn't batted all high school season and coming back after 2 tournaments, really getting back into my groove of things. I mean, it was the best feeling ever. And what was really funny is that at the fields, at the turf fields, they were really long fields, like 300, meant for probably like baseball, and but they set up these like fences,
temporary fences,
that were like made out of like poles, like white poles. It was just funny, but I mean, it cleared that, and it was really cool. So yeah, that was a pretty good feeling.
Were there any coaches there that you saw this weekend?
Yeah, actually, Coach Lynn and Coach Kay from Shriner, they came to several games. Yeah, thank you guys for coming. Thanks for watching our games. It was great. And then actually, I batted 8 for 17 with 5 RBIs, 2 doubles, and a home run. So
that's awesome. And I want to say to any of you recruits out there watching, consider Shriner.
Absolutely.
Shriner's a great program. Coach Lynn, Coach Kay, they're amazing. consider that program. Look into them. Email them. They're good people. They're good coaches.
They have a great school. I mean, I email them for sure.
So, awesome.
All right, so moving on, we're going to be looking at those teams we highlighted in last week's show. So we're going to start off with Pepper's Gold 18U. They went 1-2-1 in pool and lost their first round to XL Elite 1-0 in bracket.
You know, one run losses stink, as we know, because that happened to us with Illusion Sesame. So, the other team was Unity Fastpitch HTX 16U. They went 1-3 in pool and fell short in the bronze bracket championship to Pepper's Future 16U. So, good job to them.
Absolutely.
You know, making it to the bronze bracket championship. Good job, ladies. All right, Maddie, so let's talk about this weekend. It's the Summer Cup.
Yep.
It's a great tournament every year. Unfortunately, you aren't going to play in this tournament because you are going to Young Life Camp in Colorado, which has been pre-planned for a long time. It's been pre-planned for like 6 months.
I'm really excited about it.
However, you'll be in Colorado twice within a 2-week period because you're going back for the Sparkler. So that's pretty cool.
It is really cool. I've never been to Colorado. I'm super excited to go.
Where are you going this week? Where are you guys camping at?
It's Crooked Creek Ranch. Sorry, it's like a tongue twister. It's like northern, I think it's like northern Colorado or something like that. It's really cool. I saw a lot of posts on YouTube and like they're like little like short videos. I'm really excited for Young Life Camp. It's gonna be great.
Awesome. So let's get into game one.
Yep.
You guys play your old 12U teammate Jessica McIntosh and Texas Strike Force Florence.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. I might sneak over to Collins Park and just say hi to her and her parents because you know I'm still friends with them on Facebook. We talk a lot, so they're good people. Game two, y'all play Diamond Elite Bentley, and I think that's another one of your old teammates from Glory. Anna was her name, the pitcher.
Oh yeah.
I think that's her team too.
That's cool. And then in game three we have the Gladiators, and then in which we've never played them before.
Never even heard of the Gladiators.
Me neither. So excited for that. And then game four versus the Intruders 16U Futures, which we played a few weeks ago, and we did pretty well against them. That's cool.
I think y'all beat them like 7-1 or 8-0, something like that.
That's cool. And yeah, Crystal, our pitcher, used to play for them. So every time we play them, she's always like, "Oh, we gotta beat them."
Yep.
So.
And then in game five, the last pool game, y'all play Texas Magic. You know, we haven't played them before. You know, and then after that, bracket starts. We'll see how you guys do. Like I said, I know you won't be there, but I'm still going to follow it, and that way we can update it next week. But I think you guys will do pretty well in the Summer Cup, especially in pool.
Absolutely.
Okay, Maddie, so last week we started doing recruiting tips.
Yep.
But I actually want to turn that into a normal thing on this show, so we're going to actually call it Recruiting Corner.
Love that. Okay.
Okay. This week, I want to kind of go back and touch on a few things on the emails that I forgot. And then this week, we're actually going to focus on camps as well. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention last week is when sending, you know, make sure to send your schedule each week for your showcases.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Another thing is you want to tell them in a new week how you did at the plate the previous weekend.
Also, too, can I add something there?
Sure.
So when you're sending your schedule to coaches, you know, rain happens, weather happens, things get canceled, things get moved. Please let them know.
Yes.
Send them an email. Hey, Coach Lynn at Shriner. You know, I mean, obviously, no, don't say at Shriner, but it'll be like in the email. Hey, Coach Lynn, our 2 o'clock game got moved to 5 o'clock due to the rain. Because coaches never get that, and they will remember you if you send them a game change email for sure.
Because if they're expecting you to have a 2 o'clock game and it gets moved to 5 o'clock,
and they show up to watch you and there's no game, it's like
they may miss you entirely, and that's it.
Literally. Or they'll be going to a game that's not even happening, you know?
So in your emails every week, make sure you have the correct coach's name.
Yep.
You know, so if it's Shriner, for instance, make sure you have, you know, hey, Coach Lynn, it's Madeline Green, and then your team name.
Team name, for sure.
You know, make sure you put your team name in there. They need to know who they're talking to. So every week, make sure you put the correct coach's name and have your correct team name in there, okay?
Because there's, like, say you're on the Hot Shots, there are so many Hot Shots teams. So you need to say, hi, I'm, you know, so-and-so, and I play for Hot Shots Nelson, or I play for Hot Shots whoever. Like, you know, they just need to know the team and the coach's name with that team.
And that's why it's important to send your schedule as well.
Absolutely. Also, so do not lie on your stats. So every coach is going to know that you're not going to hit 100% of the time. Like, that's just...
Yeah.
Not gonna happen. I love softball. Not gonna happen. So if you go 3 for 14 at the plate, do not count errors as a hit, just to boost your numbers. Please say, you know, I went 3 for 14 at the plate. Not my best weekend at the plate, but I am working on that. You know, I will get back into it next weekend. I will hit extra cuts. You know, just let them know, because
tell them to talk to your hitting coach about it.
Literally, like
show your hitting. Tell them you're going to show your hitting coach your videos.
Literally, because they want to know that, you know, if you didn't have your best weekend, that you're going to keep working on it, because, you know, they don't want you to say, I went 13 for 14 at the plate with 1 strikeout and everything else was base hits, you know, because if you did that, great. If, you know, but that's very unrealistic, you know.
You know, one thing I do and I've done since her recruiting started was upload every one of her hits to Sports Recruits. That way it coincides with the numbers you're sending. So if you say, you know, you went 8 for 14 from the plate for the weekend, there better be 8 hits in there, right?
Yeah.
You know, that way they can go look and they can, and guys, understand, that's why she said do not lie. If it's an error, you know, if it's a hard hit ball and the third baseman made an error, but you still got on base, it's okay to put that one in there if it's a hard hit ball, but don't count that as a hit, okay? Because that's an error. Use the eye test. Game changer scorekeepers, they're not always right, okay? So when you look at your numbers, you know, look at the videos that were taken and put it together and say, yeah, I'm not going to count that as a hit. You know, that's an error or whatever. But make sure that your videos match up with the numbers you're sending, because you don't want to say you went 8 for 14 from the plate and you actually only had 3 hits from the weekend.
Absolutely. And also make sure if you use Sports Recruits, whatever like recruiting website you use, and we have a recruiting website. If you want to use ours, it'll be linked down below. Also, if you need to be putting that link in every email.
Yes.
You need to be linking
Sports
that.
Recruits actually has a link at the bottom of your email, so they can click and go immediately to your profile and your videos.
I 100% recommend Sports Recruits. We'll also put that in link down below. Make sure that you use that. It's super awesome. So yeah.
You know, also the coaches can look at your video and see if it's an error or a hit.
Absolutely.
Too. You know, tell the truth all the time. Okay. Secondly, you know, this is the big thing we wanted to talk about today. Now, you know, we want to talk about camps now. Okay. Camps are extremely important.
Absolutely. They're so important.
You know, they're almost as important as sending emails, because you're actually getting FaceTime with these coaches. So, you know, the first camp you went to was actually after the summer season ended last year. You went you went to a camp in Humble, and there was like, I don't know, 12 college coaches.
Yeah, there was a pretty good amount of college coaches.
Everywhere from like Odessa Junior College,
to like St. Thomas and
TMU San Antonio, and there was a good amount of coaches there. Each time you go to a camp, okay, if you know what, you know, make sure you're sending every single coach attending that camp an email letting them know that you'll be there. Okay, introduce yourself.
They will put you on their list, because when coaches go to camps, when they go to tournaments, they have a list. Your name and your face will be on that list. They will look for you. They will know who you are already when you get there. And, you know, like for an example, the coach from St. Thomas, she knew she knew exactly who I was. Coach Fro, like, singled me out in front of everyone and was like, Green, tell them your name, tell them what team you play for, and tell them what school you go to. And I was like, okay, it caught me so off guard.
She knows she's loud too, because she's actually watched some of our practices and our games.
And so she just singled me out in front of everyone, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. So she literally knew who I was when I got there. So I promise you it works. It does work.
The only exception to not sending a school an email, guys, is if it is a 4-year university and they don't offer your major.
Absolutely.
That's the only exception. Otherwise, email everybody. We were sending over 100 emails a week for a while.
We were.
Guys, I can't stress enough about sending them to every email, or I mean every coach that attends. Okay, so guys, here at Recruit Me Productions, we want each of you to be in front of as many college coaches as possible. That's the whole point of recruiting, right? Part of that is having player profile sheets prepared.
Yes, if you don't know what those are, basically it's a picture of you, like your face, a picture, just someone that they can recognize you. Also, it's things you've achieved, things you've accomplished, your grades, your stats on your SAT, ACT, all that sort of stuff, your weight, your height. I mean, it's everything about you that is good. Yeah. Everything that they want to know, anything that can get you into college, your GPA, all of that, everything is on that sheet.
And guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a link down below, a template that we have that will hopefully that'll help you. If you've never don't have one, if your player doesn't have one, download it and fill it out, guys. It is mandatory for camps.
Yes.
They need to have something in their hand, especially if they're interested in you and they've been talking to you.
Absolutely.
And they like you and they like your attitude. That will let them, and that will show them, hey, this is who they are. And it should even have a link to like sports recruits or whatever you have available to allow them to see videos and other things that you want them to see.
Absolutely, because I remember my first camp, we had no idea player profile sheets existed.
Right.
So I didn't bring one, and everyone else had one, and I was like, Dad, am I supposed to have that paper? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, okay. And so, I mean, I still went up to the coaches and introduced myself, said who I was, my team I played for, whatever, and they took down my information. But at the same time, you want to be prepared with those player profile sheets.
The next thing I want to talk about, and this is so important, be yourself.
Please be yourself. Please be yourself.
Always say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. No exceptions,
no,
guys.
Absolutely
No exceptions.
Not.
Don't be someone you think the coaches want you to see.
Be yourself. Because, you never know if you're going to end up at that school. And if you acted a certain way in front of them at a camp and then you get to their school and you're not that way at all, then it's
they're going to keep, if they like you, they're going to keep coming back to see you. And eventually, guys, the truth always comes out. And if you're not bubbly by nature, it's okay not to be, but you can still be talkative and still converse with them, but don't be somebody you're not, because they'll figure out pretty quick, especially when you're going to camps. And trust me, you will go to camps and some of the same coaches will be at a lot of these camps.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're doing Triple Crown events or some of these local regional camps, especially at the local regional camps, you'll have a lot of the same coaches. So don't be somebody you're not.
I mean, every camp that I went to where there was multiple college coaches, Coach Fro was at every single one of them. And I was like, hey.
Coach Fro's great, by the way. She's at St. Thomas.
Absolutely, they're great.
D3. She's an amazing coach. Her and Coach Tennis, they're great coaches.
Absolutely. So I 100% recommend them. But these coaches will be at the camps. And if you go to camps at a certain school that you want to go to, I went to a McLennan camp for a day, and it was just McLennan. It was just at their facilities, and it was a great camp. You can go to any sort of college, look up on their website their camps, their times, stuff for the summer. They have a ton, I'm sure. Because of COVID, it's kind of starting to be over now. Definitely go and look at the schools you're interested in.
Yeah, because Hannah went over the weekend to the Ole Miss camp.
Yeah,
and she had a great time.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I know that Coach Traxel at Ole Miss is recruiting her, so
that's amazing.
That's pretty good. The next thing is hustle.
Yes.
We're going to talk about this for a second because we've got a funny story from her first camp she went to. Hustle every station, every drill. Every time. I mean, you have to. We shouldn't even have to say that, but hustle. Okay.
It's unspoken.
The first camp she went to, it was a regional camp. And so, we had a lot of local colleges there. And I have no problem with 11 and 12-year-olds going to a camp. They're not old enough to obviously be close to being recruited yet, but it's okay to get that exposure and get that experience, because as you get older, if you have that, the earlier you have that experience, the less nervous you're going to be later. So I don't have a problem with that. But the funny thing was, there was a girl from a team, actually a couple girls from a team, and they were in the third base dugout, and Maddie's group was in the first base dugout. And so, they were pitching to one group, and then when they would pitch the other group would go shag balls.
Yeah, so it was we were just in a triangle rotation kind of thing.
Right, and so this group of coaches were on our field at this point, and this group of girls over in the third base dugout, they were young, and he said next, and the girl.
No one walked. No one was out there. He said next at least twice.
Yeah,
and there was just no one there.
And the funny thing is, and finally he said, "Is anybody going to bat?" and this one girl just, slowly walks up to the plate.
Didn't have her batting gloves on, didn't have her helmet on, didn't have her bat. Like it was like she was like scrambling for everything, and then just walked it there.
And the coach looked and said, "Yeah, walk just like that." Yeah.
And then picked up a sheet and
I was sitting there watching, and I thought, oh, because here's the thing, and coaches, if you're going to send 11 and 12-year-olds to a college camp, that's fine. That's great. Awesome. You need to prepare them. You need to prepare them mentally for what they're going to see. They're going to be with 16, 17, and sometimes 18-year-old girls who are looking for a spot, and every moment counts to them. They're there to get recruited and possibly get an offer or an invite to come to their school. And you need to let them know that it's imperative that every moment that's wasted, it keeps a girl that's older, that's in the recruiting part of their life, to get recruited or to get seen, because the other girl's taking up more time. So coaches, please make sure you have your girls hustle. The younger they are, make sure they're prepared for that when they show up.
Also too, guys, don't be afraid to speak to the coaches, especially if they're instructing you. If they like there was a point where, I was in the field and I was covering third base like the wrong way, and Coach Frost from Vernon came over and was like, hey, at Vernon.
Vernon's another great school, by the way.
Absolutely. He was like, hey, at Vernon, we covered the bag like this, try it like this. And then I did, and it worked great. So don't be afraid to talk to them, introduce yourself, say, hi coach, my name is so-and-so, I'm a 2020 whatever, just let them know, because they want to talk to you. And also pay attention. If you're called on in a group, be loud. If they're talking to a big group, make sure you're making eye contact with them, because if you're picking flowers in the dirt and you're looking everywhere else, they're gonna know you don't. They're gonna think, oh, well, they don't want to listen to me. Cross off my list, because
the number one thing these coaches are there to do is what?
Recruit. Literally, they're there to recruit you. So you need to be paying attention. They want you.
Yeah.
They want you. And if they don't want you, they want your teammate next to you. So you want to make your teammate next to you look good. You want to make yourself look good. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah. And at the conclusion of the camp, guys, this is where you will introduce yourself. Thank them for their time.
Please thank them for their time.
Guys, yes, they are being paid to be there. That's
their job.
That's their job. But thank them for their time.
Absolutely.
They don't get thanked enough.
No.
And give them a player profile sheet. If you don't have one,
link
down below. Download it, fill it out, have those ready. Mm-hmm. Another big thing, guys, is it doesn't stop there.
No,
okay?
absolutely
24 hours after the camp, no later than 24 hours. No. You need to email them and again thank them for their time. Mm-hmm. And guys, this is extremely important. Write this down, star it, highlight it, okay? Include something in every thank you email after a camp that if they instructed you on something,
that will jog the memory.
Include it in the email and how you appreciated it. Okay. Yes. Do you want to go on that?
Yeah. So for example, like I said earlier, when Coach Frost instructed me at third base when I was covering the bag a different way, he was like, hey, at Vernon we do it like this, and he taught me a different way to cover that bag, and I like it much better. It's more comfortable for me. It just works better. And so in the email the next day, I said, hey Coach Frost, it's Madeline Green from the camp from yesterday. I just want to say thank you so much for instructing me on how to cover the bag a different way. I love it much more. I'm gonna keep doing that from now on. Just thank you so much for your time. We really appreciated it. I loved seeing you. I'd love to keep in touch, blah, blah. So just make sure that, because now he's going to be like, oh, well, I instructed her on this, now I remember her, now I can write her down, see her at the next tournament that she's at or whatever, that way.
And another thing too, guys, is understand that these coaches move around. Assistant coaches want to be head coaches. Mm-hmm. That's their job. So you may see them at a camp, and then find out a week or two later that they got another job. And so understand that they're not just recruiting, they may not be just recruiting you for the job they're at. Mm-hmm. If they get another job, they may be recruiting you for that one. So don't ever lose contact. If you find out, in sports recruits, they update their database of coaches and the schools are at all the time. So understand that if you don't see them on that list, look them up on Twitter, and we'll get into Twitter next week.
Absolutely.
Look them up on Twitter, find out where they're at, and then email them there. Mm-hmm. But guys, important, include that stuff, period.
Absolutely. Please do that because it is so important. All right, guys. So now let's look ahead to next week's show.
Man, this show's over already.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
crazy.
Okay, so next week's show, we're gonna recap the Summer Cup.
That's gonna be great.
See how you guys did. We'll also look ahead to the Colorado Sparkler.
I am so excited for that. I've never been to Colorado, like I said earlier, so I'm so
And you get to
excited.
go twice in 2 weeks. What's
I
up with
know.
that?
I guess I'm just cool. Anyway, so then we're also going to recap my time at Young Life Camp because I think that's so important, and
Yeah.
I'm really excited to go there. And then we're also going to have another recruiting corner, but that next week is going to be about Twitter and how you guys can use Twitter to do recruiting. So
Twitter's so important now with recruits, guys.
Literally.
It's huge. So, guys, we had a great show this week.
And that's the ball game. Bye.
Bye.